follow me down, head into the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.
Good day. Good day, everybody. Sunday. Hey, Melissa. Super stoked, you guys. I didn't realize that Melissa hadn't gone to work yet, so I scheduled my live first thing this morning. And Melissa messaged me and let me know that she was able to join today. And yes, I know Sunny is live. She doesn't look. She doesn't check. Mine's been scheduled all day. I considered canceling my live and just, watching her, but it is what it is. It is what it is. She's not doing it on purpose. She just doesn't look. She just doesn't look, and I didn't have a chance to respond to her today or listen to her messages. But in any case, thanks for being here, Melissa. What's up today?
Not much. Went to church with family this morning and then out to lunch, and then I seen you were going to be live. I'm like, hey, I'm still home. Want me to join? And then tomorrow morning, I go back to work.
Excellent. And you went to church. How was that today?
I'll reserve comment on that.
Okay. So I was going to go back and look at some of my older stuff to do with Durwood and maybe some of Daniel's first text messages, but then all day long I've been thinking what is the point? What is the value in going back over that stuff? Because as everybody knows, the other day when Melissa and I were live, Shenanigans decided to do her first live stream in however long. That live stream was about some recorded phone calls that she had with Durwood. I'm not sure if she played a recorded call between Durwood and Tint, but I was sent that and I decided not to play it because, again, I don't see how it'll help other than add to the drama, so I didn't. However, there are a lot of questions about some of the things that were on Shenanigans live stream. So I figured we could just kind of go through, and I know Melissa, she didn't even know that Shenanigans did a live stream. So I think that'll give us something to talk about today. Again, it's about keeping Jack and Lily in the conversation, try to keep the case as relevant as we can in a positive setting. So hopefully you're good with that, Melissa. We're just going to kind of go through stuff that's been posted about Jeanette. I'm not going to play it. Hidden in the Fog did a video that I did see, and I'll play that. But other than that, we're gonna wing it today, and we're gonna answer chat, and we're just gonna have a conversation about some of the shit that's going on. As usual, Brenda Young, I don't remember seeing you. That doesn't mean that you're not here, but I don't remember seeing you here before. But thanks for finding us today. Hey, Gran, Grey Wolf, And just heads up, everybody, it was my mods that convinced me not to cancel my live stream, so you can thank my mods for being spectacular. And Lynn Hammock, good to see you. Hey, TJ's mom. Truth and Justice. Yes, Marianne, good to see you. Hey, Tam. Yes, ma'am. Thanks for coming today. Tuning in from the airplane. Mexico again. Must be nice. Although, we've got some pretty Mexico-ish weather here today. It's beautiful. Love it. Kimberly, good to see you. I have a funny story about Harley, of course. And what are you, a smuggler? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no doubt. She's always going there. And who else? Dodie, good to see you. Hey. Yeah, no, nobody. I didn't see anybody live last night either. But I've been doing my best to try to check out whenever I can, so that I can keep my thoughts straight. So the more you watch and the more you listen to, I find lately the more confused I get. So I really try to limit my intake of content. Unless it comes from the RCMP, I can't pay too terribly much attention to it. If there's even the slightest possibility that it could be relevant, if that makes sense. Angelina, good to see you. Ernestine, thanks for being here. Where's Truth? Nice to see you. Nothing new in the case but lies and drama, right? So we'll talk about some of it, but I don't want to dwell, and I don't want to give the spotlight. I just don't, if that makes sense. But I know everybody has questions, and I have questions, so that's what we're here for, right? Let's just talk about it. Let's just talk through it all. And who else? FYI, that video of the trailer and the children was not from April 2025. Janie made a comment, and it was from Christmas 2023 and a bit into 2024. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense to me. Just Jeannie, good to see you. As per Janie, that video was taken Christmas of 2023. It was in the living room in 2024. She put it up in the corner of the kitchen. Weird. I should know I was over there for Christmas. I think I might know who you are. Where's Truth? Thank you for joining, and I really wish that you would reach out to me. I do, because I'm quite sure I know who you are. Sinister, good to see you. Hey, little black bear. And Melissa, you're not streaming from your channel. What's going on?
Honestly, I didn't think about it. It's okay.
Okay, fair enough. Esther, bonjour. Who else? Hey, Hustler, good to see you. And jumped in from Sunny's. I mean, I don't want to take any of her views away, you know. It's just not an issue. Please, absolutely, you guys feel free to jump back and forth. We're just having a conversation here. She may very well have an agenda today. She might have something she wants to talk about. I have no idea. Hidden in the fog, put out a good... Yes, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at that. And if anybody has contact with Durwood, please, by all means, suggest to him to enter the chat. He is unblocked. And as long as we can all be friendly about it, I'm sure he, could answer some questions about some of the things that were said. Particularly, like, I was sent screen recordings, well, a timestamp to go listen. He seems to think it's my fault, everything that he went through. Like, I started all the shit, like me and Sunny, which, debatable. Helicopter Grandma, good to see you. Hey, Colleen. And who else? Pinky. Good to see you. Love that. Hi, Ashat. Love that. Debbie, thanks for joining. Hey, Blueberry. Who else? Leanne. Christina. Okay, now for my funny story. Oh, wait. Hey there, April Lambert. Good to see you. Okay, funny story. Bev, good to see you. Super hot here today. Harley loves his mud puddles. We all know this by now. So I decide I'm going to bring out my pool. I'm going to scrub it and I'm going to fill it for the dog because it's like 32 degrees up here on the mountain. Lucy, the dog from down the mountain, comes up for a visit. Love it. So they're playing and stuff and they start barking. And I know that they're going to head down the mountain. And usually when they do that, it's to go into the mud puddle. So I yelled at Harley, stay out of the mud. He didn't. He came back up covered in mud. So now I have a big pool set up that is essentially a huge water dish for him because I won't let him in the pool because he's covered in mud. So
Well, maybe he'll start using the pool instead of the mud hole.
that was my hope and my plan, but it was like I was like 5 minutes away from being ready to take him over there and show it to him. And then he found it himself and I went running over there to keep him from jumping in. And so he just drank the water. So maybe tomorrow, it's going to be even hotter tomorrow. So maybe tomorrow we can go in there. I mean, I'll go in with him. I just won't go in with him when he's got all this mud. He has to dry and I'll brush him out as good as I can. And did she? Oh, so she did know. Well, me and her are going to fight then. Either way, like I said, it doesn't matter. And Carrie Bailey, good to see you. Everybody's happy that Melissa is here, as am I. And why can I see you looking at me and tipping a hat? Helicopter Grandma, that's very kind of you. Thank you. If you guys got that from Helicopter Grandma, whoever did, please say thank you. I agree with you, Shar. What is the point? Were you going to say something, Melissa? You don't have to worry too much about the muting because I still have my volume super low, so I don't think the echo is going to be a big issue.
I just like to stay muted when I'm not talking. That way, if like the dog's barking or I want to say something that I don't want to say publicly, then I can.
Fair enough. I wish I could mute myself when I get angry. It'd be easier. And anybody else that I missed? Esther, good to see you. Bobby Joe, hey. And Donna, hello. Denise, nice to see you today. Dutton Ranch is so good. Exactly. What do we call that? Get the train, call the train, take them to the train station. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ori, thank you for joining today. Adventures with Purpose has been my flatline. Unmarked has been mine. He's so good. I love it. Stuff has been gone over again and again from channel to channel, and we just aren't going to solve it. Right. And I mean, I don't think that in reality, I shouldn't say because I can't speak for any other channel out there, but I've never for 1 second thought that we were here to try to solve the case. I kept saying, this is not Don't Fuck with Cats. This is not that. All we can do, because there's so little information that comes out that can be counted on as factual, all we can do is talk about the rumors and the speculation and decide for ourselves as a group what's believable, what's not believable, and just like the lists that we came up with, where is the information coming from? What should we put our time and energy into dwelling on, and what should we just huck out the window? You know, because I don't think any of it is going to help figure out what happened to Jack and Lily. Now, having said that, a lot of it does help keep the conversation going, and I'm all for that, unless and until you're making false accusations and people who aren't even involved in the case, and then that's where I have a problem.
I agree. I mean, we're not going to solve it, but we can keep Jack and Lily's names out there and their faces out there and keep talking about it. Solve it? No, that's not our job. That's the RCMP's job.
Right, exactly. Did I say hi to Liz, Nova Scotia? If I didn't, hello, Carrie Bailey. I don't know if it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know if she's on right now. But the last time Melissa and I went live, we didn't realize it, but she was in fact doing a live stream that day at the same time. So, Char, it would be good if you played the section of Darren talking about Janie claiming she heard the woman's voice. Yeah, I would have to find it. I was going to go back, like I said, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, what is the purpose? Just to bring up old drama, old news, the not even news? I don't know. What I do want to say is everyone should go back to the press conference where they are announcing scaling back of the search. It was very interesting. I'll do that today. Thank you for the tip. Again, I am safe. I am friendly. Feel free to reach out to me. Your people know how to do that. So, yes, ma'am. Cold and rainy in Saskatchewan. So we nope. Time to go again. For sure. Mike Hall, do not. Mr. Hemi, good to see you. Are you monsters of chaos, Mr. Hemi? Inquiring minds want to know. JJ, good to see you. I hope you're doing okay. When they say the children are no longer alive, I do believe they just didn't mean in the woods. Constable McKinnon was quite emotional. Fair. Let's have a look at it after. Thankfully, there's a mosquito. It can't be a mosquito. It must be a fly. Whatever. Very loud. Thankfully, Melissa is here. So if we have anything with sound, I'm going to get Melissa to pull it up because, if you know, you know. Daleen, good to see you. If it was from 2024, why would Wade send it to Anita? Why wouldn't he? Maybe it's the only thing from inside of the trailer. Possibly Anita asking Wade what the inside of the trailer was like, and he was like, "Well, hold my beer. I happen to have a video." You never know. Makes sense to me. But even if it doesn't, what does that help anything? I don't know. You tell me. I'm asking. I'm not being an asshole. I'm asking. How does that video of inside the trailer give us any more insight? The kids look fine. They're literally sitting there eating in the house that never fed them. Yes, recycling is everywhere, but truly it didn't look that nasty. So, and I'm not directing this at anybody other than Anita. What's the big deal? Thanks for the video of inside the trailer.
I have to agree with you there. It didn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice here. I'm trying to be nice.
But yeah, for me, it didn't give me any more information of anything. It showed us, the inside of the trailer, but it really only showed a couple of rooms. So I still haven't figured out what the point of that video is.
Other than to show the inside of the trailer. There is speculation, where is truth, that you know the family quite well. So if I don't know who you are, that's all good. Leanne from Abby. What's Abby? Where's Abby? Comment from Janie was under, yeah. I did see the comment, but there is some speculation out there. I mean, if you're not that person, then that's fine. But if you are, hit me up. What's the point of what shenanigans actions? She created an alias and stirred the pot with more lies. I don't understand it, but let's talk about it. I need 2 phones so I can double fist. Good. Yes, Durwood has been, and I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have heard from Durwood since our peace treaty, we'll call it. And he has been decent, and I have been doing my best to be decent in return. So none of the venom and bullshit and drama was helping anything, right? Julie, Kate, why do you think Anita refused to take a polygraph? Good question. I'm starting to get tanned, only like the worst farmer's tan ever. Yeah. I got a little bit of sun yesterday, and today I went to the lake yesterday afternoon just to visit some friends. Just for a couple hours. I suspect Nita will be taking a polygraph shortly. Just wild prediction. She has to agree to it, and I don't see the benefit. But I mean, I don't know what the cops know, so who knows? Yeah, I don't care what keeps him cooler. I got him a pool. Crime Science Stories, good to see you. No, here we go. A buddy of ours did some real digging the last week and possibly found out why a certain someone is being a thorn with lies and distractions. Heard this info, will likely make it to McCammon's attention. Being a thorn with lies and distractions. If that's who I think it is, you go expose them all. Get her done. I am sick of it. Hope so, Daleen. There was a very interesting comment, but a Stella Glasgow wasn't there under that MOS video. Anita already stated that if she was asked to take a poly, she will hire a lawyer first. She's probably gonna need one, just saying. No offense. T is an advocate for Malaya and is innocent, but is not sure if she's lying. Make it make sense. You can't. 32 degrees, that's a little above freezing. Oh, no. 32 degrees is Celsius here. Celsius here. What's hidden in the fog here? Susan here? Expose them all. Can you be more specific? That describes a lot of people surrounding this case. To be honest with you, expose them all. When we first saw you enter chat rooms, and probably still, there are people who wonder if you're not connected to that. What do you even call it? I don't want to call it a team. What do you even call it? Group? Following? I don't know. I wonder where Belinda has been. Hopefully Belinda has been taking time to enjoy summer, to relax, to enjoy her beautiful yard, and taking a step back from the drama and the nonsense, hopefully, honestly. And I don't care if I'm talking about Janie or Daniel or Malaya. I mean, Malaya, she lives in a step back, and she doesn't seem to get herself too wound up about anything to do with her missing kids. However, the other people that I mentioned, they all need to take breaks and touch grass and remember that, the RCMP they're going to get to the bottom of it. So I don't like judging. That's why I try and not say what I'm thinking, what happened. Me too, Kimber. It's so hard, though. That's why I have to check out. Like, I have no choice but to check out. Like, before, you guys know it. And Melissa, you probably know it too. You're searching for any lives on Jack and Lily, and you're going to watch everything, and you're going to take it all in. And I'm to the point now where I'm just like, how does this help? And where did this come from? And what's the point of that? And then you just get, your brain is muddied up with all these extra questions where just it doesn't help. In fact, it's bad for somebody's mental health. So I just,
Yeah, I think the more I watch, the more confused I get.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely right. There are a handful of people who know the truth. All it's going to take is one of them not being able to live with the guilt, who will be a hero and do the right thing. Well, and
I wouldn't call it being a hero.
Yeah, exactly. It's not being a hero. However, if there was any sort of moral compass floating around, I think we're, 13 and a half months. Is that right? Yeah. We're like, I don't know, what is it, 410 days or something for, like, I don't agree. I think, just in my mind, don't come at me, but it makes sense in my mind that one person knows. One person knows, and they might have a bestie or a family member or something that is helping them keep that secret. But for the whole group of them, and I can't get on board, because somebody would have slipped up by now.
I think two people know.
Yeah. One guilty party and a trusted person who they went to for help, and they're helping. I feel it in my bones, you guys. I just do. You're not monsters of anything? Good. How does Panorama? Love that name. Bonnie Garrett, good to see you. Noni, hey, you guys. How does Shenanigans sleep at night with playing all these games and 2 missing children's case? All the intimidation tactics is crazy. Something is seriously wrong there. Honestly, that's very well put, Pam. It really is. I don't understand it. I don't see the benefit in, well, whatever. We'll get to it. We'll read. I'm going to read Monsters of Chaos first.
Before you do that.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I would expand that, what Panorama said there. I think that there's a lot of people that are, whether they're doing it intentionally or unintentionally, are spreading, and I won't say misinformation necessarily, but their narrative or their idea or their theory as fact. And that shouldn't be happening, because in all honesty, none of us were there. None of us know. And we're just trying to keep the awareness out there of Jack and Lily at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, I did, and I don't know why it still bothers me so much, but back when we were covering Delphi, and I'm not going to mention the channel here, they do not cover or follow Jack and Lily at all, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to, whatever. There was an individual who started a YouTube channel who, I mean, quite possibly really did have inside information coming to him from the prosecution side. And they were kind of leaking information out from his channel. And a lot of it turned out to be true and relevant. But holy hell, if the defense side leaked anything out, they were booted off the case. They were like, there was an extreme double standard going on in that case. And so I used to get angry. Like, it's okay if you have inside information, but do not come out on a YouTube channel and state it as fact, whether it is or not. You have to say in your opinion, you have to put it out as a potential possibility, because people believe, because I was one of them back then. I was one of them where you heard it on YouTube, they must know what they're talking about. And people take what we say and they believe it, and they go to the next channel and the next channel and the next channel. So if it's relevant, important information, then you're potentially, tainting the jury pool. You're putting out information that only the suspect would know, giving them, a heads up where they need to go with their next lie or whatever. You know what I mean? It's one thing to speculate and be close with your speculation, but it's a whole nother thing to go on and just talk like you know everything and putting it out as fact. I think that's incredibly irresponsible and dangerous and disrespectful to the process, and jeopardizing justice for Jack and Lily. That's what I think. Do you agree with that, Melissa?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do. The short answer to that.
Okay. Few comments. Why the hell would Anita need a polygraph? Waste of time. Absolutely. Why would Anita send it out everywhere? That's the other question. Good question. Fair.
Because it fits her narrative.
That's right. But it doesn't even, because it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't show anything.
You're right, it doesn't. But she can twist it and say, well, see, this was, there's recycling everywhere. The house wasn't kept. Like, she is trying, in my opinion, only here. There are several, her included, that are trying to spin that video into something that it's not.
Totally. I want to see if I can see it. Oh my God. Charmaine is the worst person ever. That's my recycling right there, you guys. That's my recycling right there. I am so dirty and unkept. Harley never eats. I starve him and I beat him. My bad. I wasn't hiding it from anybody. It's literally just the way the chair is. But, I mean, it's recycling. Who gives a shit? That was my point. No, that was my point. Everybody has it. I was doing a little bit of tidying today. I haven't taken it out because it's like a quarter of a kilometer away where I have to put it, which I will do after the live stream. But I'm not going to sit here and judge because they have their recycling in bags. It's better than having them strewn all over the place. Like, that video proved nothing. Especially nothing that Anita was saying. Oh, is Belinda here? Hello, Belinda. Maybe? I don't know. I can't see her. Oh, yes, there she is. Hello. Oh, and Marie Antoinette. Thank you for joining. All right. I had this pulled up. Sure. Irish Mike put out an interesting... Yes, I saw that, and he is great at questioning stuff, Ruby. He has, like, even the questions that I don't agree with and I think are pretty, common sense. The way his mind works, I love it. So we will watch Mike MX after as well. Do you have a time limit today there, Melissa?
No, not really. And I've got some stuff I've got to do before I leave in the morning, but I doubt we're going to pull a 4 or 5 hour live, so I'm good.
Yeah, I can't see it. You never know, though. The nastiest thing in that video was the window. Otherwise, it was like normal. Yeah, I mean, my windows don't have bird shit on them, but some of them are dirty. Like, it was just a no. It was a nothing burger. Oh no, Shar, I missed recycling too. Damien, is it nice to see you? I don't know. Thanks for being here, though. You're on the phone with PETA. If you get my Harley taken away, Gran, me and you are going to fight. I remember people were coming and going out of that trailer on May 2nd with food, etc. When Belinda and Chelsea showed up the next day, it would be a mess. And quite honestly, your children are missing so many people in and out of there. I wouldn't be cleaning up. I would be cleaning up somebody else's. Like, if I was there helping, I would be the one that would be cleaning up. But maybe they didn't have that. No shit. I have 3 recycle bins in my kitchen, rinsed out and clean. But yeah, I have to walk it on. And I'm on oxygen, so not. I'm just lazy. I'm lazy and I'm tired. That's my excuse. But I will. Like, I'll take it out today. I will. And I do have a can there for it, but I had to take it out of the can to finish filling it, you know? So, like I said, at least they weren't laying around everywhere. The table that the children were eating at looked clean. They were actually eating. The living room didn't seem messy. I said, I don't get the point. Lurking? Lurking lizard, are we? Nita sent it to me because she said Wade said the blue and green Tupper maids were gone once the children were missing. Okay. So it was more about the bins? That would have been good to...
So what's he trying to say? That the kids are in the bins and were taken out that way?
I think so, because there was kind of a big hubbub about those bins being missing. And a lot of people did, not just... Wade or whatever. But, yeah. Again, like this is my biggest pet peeve with the channels out there that do have good insight or maybe inside information somewhat, or, information about questions everybody has. Just don't be cryptic about it. Just come out and say it. Just explain it so that we're not all sitting here going, what bins? Because I remember hearing about them, but it's like, well, but. Bird shit or spit, like big whoopee shit, a bit shit on my card. Yeah, and yeah. So there was a very specific reason for sending the video. I don't know why Wade took the video image. That is the mystery. Yeah, I don't know either. It's odd. Because it's not like the video is being taken to show like opening presents or the kids specifically. It was literally scanning the entire place. So
the only thing I can think is that at some point they thought, oh, we need to record this, because when we report to CPS, because she's a mandated reporter, and this is all hypothetical, this is not fact, but maybe they were recording it to preserve what it looked like on a certain day, to show, okay, this is what it looked like this day, and this is what it looked like, on this day, and see, it's dirty here, it's clean here, this is acceptable, this is not, and only one video has been put out. I don't know. If it was something like that, I could understand Wade or Cindy or whoever taking the video, right? Like if it was to compare and contrast to another day. But I personally feel like this whole video is irrelevant, first of all. But second of all, it's being taken out of context because we don't know the context, right?
Yeah. And that, I mean, that is a good point. Possibly. And it is literally reaching for the stars right now, you guys. But maybe it did have something to do with CPS and maybe a responsibility or an obligation to, document the condition of the children's living space. It could be something as simple as that.
I agree. So
I
where is the truth said Melissa, but Janie said it was taken Christmas of 2023. CPS got involved in December of 2024. But that doesn't negate what I'm saying. Where's the truth? What I'm saying is maybe they were thinking about calling CPS. Maybe they had seen a dirty house or they'd seen bruises on the kids or I don't know, whatever, right? Let's just think of a hypothetical there. So they took the video to show, okay, this is what it was like here. And then things straightened up. So they're like, oh, we don't need it. Right. But now it's coming back out. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm explaining what's in my head correctly here.
I do. Um, I don't know. It would be great if we had somebody from CPS, maybe not even the Nova Scotia CPS, but any kind of CPS to say, like, if you have if you have concerns and you call CPS, or maybe they got advice to document the condition of the trailers. You know what I mean? Maybe, possibly. Mr. Hemi wants to know, Belinda, if that's how the trailer looked the day that you were there. And then Belinda said, sadly, there are many spinning facts with fiction. The only people I know are Malaya, Hayden, and Patty. I know nothing of anyone else, only what I've seen and heard online, which is tragic, because there's nothing that you can believe that you've seen or heard online only, in my opinion. Someone stated that there was shatter I equals what on the table by Jack's plate, but I do not know if that's what that is on the table. Hard to see it. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If that's true and Wade was taking a video instead of taking that stuff off the table where Jack was eating, shame on Wade. In Mexico, thanks for being here. Yeah, there sure has been a big to-do about those bins, as well as the cement outside and the clean ATV. Yeah. Yep. Wade maybe thought it was not acceptable for babies to live in that way and knew something brewing. I will check it out. Much tidier. Me too. I'm not even close to being sacred. And Lori, I have not lied about the dog or seeing its open mouth. I'm missing some comments, you guys. I'm not cryptic. I wasn't accusing you. I'm accusing videos of being cryptic, Daleen. I agree at times, like this who is worrying about a mess. It was about 2 missing children, and with so many there at this time, it's understandable. I thought the video was a bit invasive and no one's business. Belinda, I heard you saying you heard a big dog, you never seen it. That's what you said. I remember that. Melissa, but Janie said it was taken Christmas 2023. Oh, you already did that one.
Yeah, I did. And he did say, oh, okay. So I think where's the truth understands now what I was trying to get at with what I was saying.
Gotcha. Seeing an open mouth of teeth did not allow me to identify it. I thought I told Sunny, but I guess it was just Mike. I don't know anything about dog. Belinda didn't comment about that. As for the status, it's absolutely true. It's of no fault of your own, though. Don't know what any of that means.
Let's be a little nice to Belinda in chat, please.
Yeah. Be a little nice to everybody, or go away. Sunny's live right now. Go there. The place looked totally different than Wade's video. Apparently, I am now Brandon according to the unstable Dingbat. I heard that. I know he is not Brandon as well, but they don't believe me anyways, so I don't care. When you report to CPS about children being in situations, they call on that the people know they will be coming at what time of day. Not always. And I think more often than not, they're not given a heads up that CPS is coming.
We are in the United States.
You get a heads up in the States?
Yep. When you get a report to CPS, you will get a phone call and they'll be like, hey, we've got a report. We need to come out and check on you. This is the time and date that we'll be out there. And it's generally within 24 to 48 hours, but they sure do. They give you a heads up.
Wow. That's odd. That's okay, Ron Mexico. Try being accused of being Brad Turner. We need t-shirts. Marie. That's what I thought you originally said, Belinda. I'm sure the state in that video was a one-off. Likely response to the CAS visit. She thinks everyone is someone who they are not. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, are you Damien? Cool. Stupid. Are they blocked? Oh shit. Whatever. I made a call 23 times on my son-in-law and daughter, and every time CPS told them they were coming, and what time, even a couple times, told them who called. Wow. Don't even write the same way. Huh. I never thought. I mean, clearly I don't give a shit. Like, if I don't know who a fake profile is, I'm not going to bang my head against a brick wall to figure it out. If you want to be private, be private. I don't care. Unless you're super obvious, like drone grid here. Not always a heads up, Melissa. Sometimes they just show up. From my experience, not my family, from a professional standpoint. They absolutely just show up sometimes.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on what the report is, too.
Yeah.
With Nick, one time I got a phone call and they're like, hey, we're coming over and this is the time and date. And sure enough, they were there, and it had to do with the fact that Nick was at the neighbor's house and he was a known felon and his dad had a problem with it. So he called CPS, and CPS was like, yeah, there's nothing to see here. And I was like, okay, have a good day. All right, bye.
I'd wager that trailer normally didn't look like that. So are you then, Mr. Hemi, safe to say you think that they were given a heads up about CPS, or, I don't know. That totally discourages people from reporting if they're going to be outed by to have been the reporter, and kind of futile, I think, if you're going to give them a heads up. Yeah, we're going to be by next Tuesday at 4:00. So if you can make sure, like, you've got food in the cupboard and shit's cleaned up before we get there, so we don't actually have to do anything for the kids, make that make sense. Like, I don't get that. Gypsy Flo, good to see you.
I know.
All right, I'm going to read this about from Monsters of Chaos yesterday. Shenanigans is back up and running. No, she wasn't put in jail like some people thought. Monsters of Chaos figured it was a rumor. Shan has now admitted she started a rumor about herself under another account while her main channel was down. Shan did say she felt threatened by someone. Monsters of Chaos may have differences with Shenanigans, Zach, and Ninji, but we do not condone threats of any kind towards other content creators, even if you don't like them. Even if you completely despise them, Monsters of Chaos feels that differences with YouTube and online should stay online, threat-free. If you are really worked up about another content creator, make a video about it without threats. Wolfie, Shan did a shout out to you. LOL. She was thinking about you, Wolfie. LOL. Shan also said she ran an AI program with samples of Ron Mexico's writing and thinks he is really Brandon the Searcher. She also played audio calls between her and Durwood. Durwood is now alluding to Anita having a role in Jack and Lily's case. Don't know about that. If people believe Anita or not, really doubtful she had a role in it. Where am I? Oh, but that is this channel's opinion. Ron Mexico has already had to deal with people thinking he was Daniel, so now he is Brandon. And there are people saying a while back that Mr. Hemi is Durwood. He is not Durwood. Agreed. Do you have any thoughts on that post?
I just, bullying of anybody is not right. You know, you've dealt with it. I've dealt with it. I know Sonny's probably dealt with it. Like, get over it. Like, if you have factual information and you put it out, like the video I put out, I put the factual information in there. I proved what I was saying. It isn't rumor. It isn't speculation. It's what it was. That is different. Now, if you then go and you intentionally bully a person or threaten a person, that isn't right. If you send people to mass report channels in hopes that they come down for no good reason, it's not right. It just isn't. Grow up.
My microphone's being real weird today. So yeah, a couple things on here about Anita Durwood thinking that Anita is the next contestant on who did what to Jack and Lily. But Durwood thinks Anita has a part to play in the disappearance. And to that, I personally, I don't think so. But if there was anybody here in this community who was being loud and making themselves a spectacle of themselves, it would be Anita. And the accusations that she's throwing out to absolutely anybody, I have no sympathy if people are going to go at her as being involved in this, because she was, just because. That's how I feel about that. And again, I don't know. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think that Malaya didn't take off to the reserve. I have posted pictures on my profile of the children living with Cody, then Patty and Gerlach Road. I guess we should expect charges then. Taking care of someone could be suing them, reporting them. It's not how someone perceives it. Mr. Hemi joined Shan. I joined Shan. Oh, Mr. Hemi joined Shan on a live, so it was pretty clear he wasn't. He has a great voice. Nice. AB blocked me because Brandon told him to. Anastasia, good to see you. Now apparently I'm a Monsters franchisee, Damien. By the way, Ron Mexico, I looked up the band you said. Oh, Anyways, zero sympathy. She brought it on herself and went way too far. If it ever was going to be about the kids for Anita, that changed long ago. Agreed. I was Daniel, then Ron Mackenzie, then his wife, then Ron Jeremy showing how stunned she is, then Durwood, and now I am Brandon. Good grief.
Sounds to me like she thinks Ron has multiple personalities.
I'm at a loss to understand. Who cares? Like, who cares? Like, if you've got a profile, a username, a handle, or whatever you want to call it on YouTube, on whatever game platform you use, just because you're not willing to come out and say what your real legal name is, that doesn't mean that you're involved or that you're trying to start bullshit. I mean, honestly, does it? Like, am I the one that should be worried about all these fake accounts? I don't give a shit who they are. All I give a shit that people are talking about the kids. They're bringing their names up. And if any of the fake profiles out there has any credible information about what happened to Jack and Lily, I'm sure the reason why they're using a fake profile is so that they could brag about what they know. And that's just not happening. To me, I don't get it. Do you? I don't know. Okay. I don't know if I have to unshrink. Oh, because, Melissa, of my sound issue, I'll actually send this to you. Share it. Because the reason why I'm saying that is because I want to watch it, but I want to be able to friggin' hear it. I haven't watched it all the way through yet, so there you go. Why isn't this working? My computer's being all kinds of messed up today. It's really sad because it's not even a full year old yet. Anyways, so I'll give Melissa a minute to pull that up. I popped in Shenanigans like a couple days ago. She looks like she's on the verge of a mental breakdown. It's quite sad. Oh, like I said, I haven't been able to watch. Anybody see Durwood in here? All the OGs are here. Hello to all of them, especially Belinda. Thank you, everyone, for continuing to keep Lily and Jack's names out there. I remember there was a point in time, I'm not going to mention a channel, but every single time an unfamiliar name would come into chat, it would be actually physically written down and added to a list of persons of interest for that channel. Not even kidding. Anyways, we go. So I want to, is this a video? Melissa, is this it? That looks like it.
Yeah. It's 14 minutes and 22 seconds long.
Okay, I'm going to leave the pausing, starting and stopping to you. If you choose to do it, that's fine. If you choose to play it out, that's fine. Everybody, if you don't already follow Hidden in the Fog, I'm going to ask everybody to go over and do that. We will get the link I'll put the link in the chat while we go. And whenever you're ready, Melissa.
More than a year, the disappearance of 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and 4-year-old brother Jack Sullivan has remained one of Canada's most heartbreaking and perplexing missing children's cases. Investigators have followed leads, searchers have combed through forests, fields, and waterways. Families have pleaded for answers. Throughout it all, one question has remained at the center of the mystery. What really happened on the morning of May 2nd, 2025? Now, comments made during a recorded conversation involving YouTube creator Shenanigans, who has publicly described herself as an advocate for the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, have raised new questions about one of the most critical parts of the timeline. Not because of what investigators have said or because of what critics have alleged, but because of what an advocate herself appears willing to consider. The statement during a recorded telephone conversation with Darren Geddes, also known online as Derwood O'Grady, the discussion turns to the timeline surrounding Lily and Jack's disappearance. According to the conversation, Darren argues that Daniel Martel could not have killed the children after they were reportedly last seen because Malaya stated she heard or saw the children shortly before they were reported missing. In essence, Darren's position is simple. If the children were alive and present when Malaya says they were, then the timeline becomes extremely difficult to reconcile with the scenario in which Daniel Martel harmed them afterward. Daniel Martel was at the time the children's stepfather, partner of Malaya Brooks Murray. Darren goes further, arguing that if Malaya truly heard the children approximately 20 minutes before they were reported missing, Daniel would have had almost no opportunity to secretly harm them without being seen. As the conversation unfolds, Shenanigan says she is going to play devil's advocate. And in doing so, she reportedly suggests an alternative possibility. What if Malaya was mistaken? What if she was groggy? What if she was tired? What if Lily never poked her head into the bedroom at all? What if Daniel manipulated the whole thing and said, "Don't you remember?" What if Malaya never actually heard the children that morning? For many listeners, that may have sounded like a hypothetical discussion. But when those words come from someone who identifies herself as an advocate for Malaya Brooks Murray, who has said she has spoken to Malaya Brooks Murray, they carry a different weight because advocates generally stand behind the accounts of the people they are advocating for. And here, an advocate appears willing to entertain the possibility that a central part of Malaya's account may not be accurate. But perhaps the most revealing moment in the entire conversation is not the discussion about the timelines. It's a simple question, a direct question, a question that cuts straight to the heart of the issue. At one point, Darren asks Shenanigans whether Malaya is lying. Not mistaken, not confused, not misremembering, lying. What follows is striking. There is an uncomfortable silence. There's no immediate defense, no quick dismissal of suggestion, no firm declaration that Malaya is telling the truth. Just silence. And then the response. I don't know.
But here's the thing, Darren.
I keep an open mind. So how can you be so sure that Daniel isn't responsible for killing the kids if you weren't there? Do you know what I mean? Like,
If he killed it, listen. If Malaya, all right, is Malaya lying?
I don't know.
Think about that for a moment. This is not a critic of Malaya speaking. This is not someone who has publicly positioned herself against Malaya. This is someone who has repeatedly described herself as an advocate for Malaya Brooks-Murray. Yet, when asked directly whether Malaya is lying, the answer is not an emphatic absolutely not. The answer is, I don't know. For many viewers, that may be one of the most significant statements made in the entire conversation. Because advocates typically advocate from a position of belief. They defend someone's character, their actions, their credibility, and their version of events.
So I just got to pause it there for a second. I agree with what Hidden in the Fog is saying, but somebody else said it in chat earlier, and I have to agree. And I hate it. Trust me. I don't like playing the devil's advocate for her at all. And by her, I mean Shan. But you can be an advocate and want to be an advocate and try to be an advocate for those of DV or SA or whatever. You can do that. And you can separate that from the fact that the kids are missing or try to. But in reality, statistically speaking, if you have a domestic violence situation, and then you have 2 children that randomly go missing and haven't been found for 13 months, statistically speaking, they are victims of DV and probably aren't a lot. So I don't know how much I give credit to the I don't know. She doesn't know. She's being honest. I don't know. She's not best friends with Malaya. She's not, they've been buddy for years and years. She's been talking to her for a couple of months. She doesn't know her that well, in all honesty. She doesn't know if she's lying or not.
It's very true. And that was one of the first things that I said when I was, when I was hearing that she was having conversations with Cindy. And then I think one of the first things that we heard, that there was a conversation that they had outside of or after the court hearing, whatever, and it was a couple hours, blah, 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 whatever, whatnot. And there was some kind of a comment like, I looked into her eyes, I listened to her. It's a different thing when you see somebody in person. And she believed Cindy, whatever that was. And don't shoot me if I'm, getting little details wrong. But that was the gist of the story that came out at first. But I couldn't help but wonder, how do you know that they're not looking you in the eye and lying? Because a lot of us have experience with people who are liars, who are manipulators, who are narcissists, and they will look you dead in the eye and lie. And you can know that they're lying and they will not break. So to me, it doesn't matter if you don't know a person just because you're sitting across from them and having this long conversation. That just means they're really great manipulators, because who knows if they're being truthful or not,
Exactly.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
But here, when confronted with a direct question about the truthfulness of one of the most important witnesses in this case, the response appears to reveal uncertainty. And that uncertainty raises a difficult question. How can someone confidently advocate for a person's account while simultaneously admitting they don't know whether that account is truthful? Defense attorneys represent people accused of terrible crimes every day. They stand beside clients who face enormous public scrutiny. But even experienced defense attorneys often make one thing very clear. They can defend the law, they can challenge evidence, they can ensure due process is followed, but they cannot effectively defend a client who lies to them. The attorney-client relationship is built on trust. Credibility matters because truth matters. So when someone publicly acting as an advocate begins openly questioning whether the person they advocate for is being truthful, it becomes impossible to ignore. Because if an advocate does not know whether their client, or in this case, the person they're advocating for, is telling the truth, what exactly are they advocating? The facts? The person? Or simply a version of events they themselves admit may not be accurate? This is where the conversation takes on an even greater significance. The reported sounds, sightings, and interactions involving Lily and Jack on the morning of May 2nd have always been central to the timeline. Malaya has reportedly stated she heard the children shortly before they were discovered missing.
What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door and we can't hear it when it opens.
Daniel also has stated that he reportedly saw Lily poke her head in and out of the bedroom a few times that morning. And then there are statements reportedly also too from Martel's mother, Janie McKenzie, who lives on the property in an RV. According to public discussions surrounding the case, Janie has stated she heard the children shortly after receiving a phone call from her brother around 8:48 a.m. of the morning of May 2nd, while the children were reportedly on the swings. These accounts have long been treated by many observers as important markers in the morning timeline. But what happens if one of those markers moves? Because if Malaya never actually heard the children, if Lily never actually entered the bedroom, if those events never occurred as remembered, then the timeline shifts. And if the timeline shifts, the assumptions built upon it shift as well. There is another implication here. If shenanigans is suggesting it is possible Malaya never saw or heard the children that morning, then she is effectively suggesting that the timeline may be significantly different from what it has been publicly presented as. And if that possibility exists, what does it mean for the other accounts from that morning? What does it mean for the statements that reportedly place the children on the swings? What does it mean for the observations attributed to Janie McKenzie? What does it mean for every conclusion people have drawn based upon the reports, sightings, and sounds? Because timelines are only as reliable as the observations that create them. And when one observation becomes uncertain, every connected observation deserves scrutiny. Not dismissal, not condemnation, but it does need to be scrutinized. It is important to be responsible here, though. None of this proves anyone lied. None of this proves anyone harmed Lily and Jack. None of this implicates any individual in a crime. And none of it answers the question everyone still wants answered. Where are Lily and Jack Sullivan? What this conversation does reveal is that uncertainty exists even among those who publicly support and advocate for key figures in the case. And that uncertainty is important because certainty has often been presented online where evidence simply does not exist. Perhaps the most remarkable part of this conversation is not what Darren Geddes said. It's what an advocate appeared willing to concede. Not that Malaya was telling the truth, not that Malaya was lying, but that she simply didn't know. 3 words: I don't know. 3 words that leave hanging a question at the center of one of the most important timelines in the case. If even an advocate is uncertain about whether Malaya truly heard the children on the morning they disappeared, then perhaps the timeline remains far less settled than many have believed. And if the timeline remains unsettled, then so too do many of the conclusions built upon it. The disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan remains unsolved. The questions remain. The uncertainty remains. And perhaps after hearing this conversation, the biggest question remains exactly what it has always been. What really happened on the morning of May 2nd, 2025? Lily and Jack Sullivan had been missing since that day, or they were at least reported missing on that day. Until they are found, until answers are given, and until the truth is known, the questions are not going away, and nor should they. For those who would like to hear the recorded telephone conversation between Shan and Darren Geddes in its entirety, you can head over to her channel, YouTube, Tea Time on True Crime with Shenanigans. It is worth listening to. And please hype, like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps support the work that I do here.
I think that was the gist of the video.
I apologize. Yes, that was the gist of the video. I think it was, well done. I've starred a few comments that I would like to go through. Except then I'm gonna fall way behind. It is what it is. Maybe you can keep your eye on the live chat while I go through starred.
Yeah, there's a couple. We both went to Star at the same time, so.
Okay. And yeah, if you want to say anything, please just speak up. So Cheryl wouldn't know either. She wasn't around for years. I can't remember what that was referring to. Just like Cheryl said, how do we know it was Malaya that called Cindy? Well, my answer to that would have been, well, because the call was made on Malaya's phone, and why in the world would Daniel call Cindy? He couldn't stand her, and Cindy couldn't stand him. There's a difference between being an advocate and a supporter. Supporters leave room for differences in facts. Advocates advocate on facts, period. I couldn't agree more. And there's a distinct difference in being a supporter and being an advocate. I am an advocate for due process. I base my stance and my fight, my argument on facts they're based in law, basically. But I am supportive of certain people and the plights that they have gone through in their past history that really has nothing to do with Jack and Lily. You know what I mean? That's different. I'm supportive of domestic abuse survivors. I am also supportive of people being able to face their accuser and people being able to defend themselves if they have a valid defense. And that is my advocacy for due process. That's the difference. And I don't know if that made sense to anybody, but that's how my brain works. just because you're supportive, you believe, you encourage, that doesn't make you like an advocate. To me, maybe I'm wrong. A great way of trying to twist that, she is being honest, saying she doesn't know. I'm an advocate and I will support someone with domestic violence. I stand for Malaya on domestic violence. Shan has always said she supports a DV survivor. And again, like, I don't want to talk about it. I really don't. But what happened to due process? What happened to, and I don't want to say innocent until proven guilty because I don't want people to come at me, but come on. I don't know how to put it without sounding like an asshole. But I have known many, many women who can go and say and do whatever they want. And people just believe them. And as you should. But the accused deserves to face their accuser. They deserve to defend themselves. And they deserve to be heard until they're proven guilty and sentenced. So you cannot have it both ways. Not here anyways. I'll fight you tooth and nail. I don't give a shit. I'm not saying one person is lying and the other person is telling the truth. I'm saying I don't know. And the evidence and the facts that will come out in trial is what's going to determine that. And I respect that process enough to not call anybody a liar or a sex offender or a monster until the time comes that it's proven.
Now, I had something to say on that one there.
Sure, go ahead.
Sherman. I'm not trying to twist anything. What I'm saying is you can be an advocate and still not know whether or not somebody is telling you the truth. You can be a supporter and still not know if somebody's telling the truth. I'm not trying to twist what was said. What I'm trying to do when I said that, when you posted that, was to give another view of what could be going on. She's not saying, well, I don't know, as in she doesn't know if she's telling the truth or not, and that makes her guilty. It was just another way to look at it. So don't twist what was said, and understand there are differences between a supporter and an advocate. An advocate, in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, but in my opinion, advocate goes out there and actively advocates for domestic violence victims or advocates for those who have suffered some type of abuse, right? Or mistreatment. You're out there, you're, whether it's fundraisers or talking to the Senate or talking to your government, whatever, you're advocating, right? You're advocating for change. You are actively doing something. While a supporter, in my opinion, and what I would consider myself is, hey, you really need, if this really did happen, you need to take it to the police. You need to get this on record. That is a supporter. I wouldn't say I'm an advocate for those who have had situations, but I am a supporter. Can I understand that Malaya may have been abused? Yes. Can I support her and say, yes, I believe she should take this to, trial, or she should turn this in, or whatever, if it's true? Sure. But that doesn't mean I'm advocating for her. It doesn't mean I'm making excuses for her. It just means I can understand and respect and say, okay, if this happened, then this is what you should do. It doesn't mean I believe every word she says.
I'm way behind in chat. So I'm going to jump back over to the starred ones. I tend to disagree just because she continues to accuse Daniel of lying, and you can't have it both ways. They're using Shan to put out whatever looks best on Malaya. I don't know. You cannot advocate for someone you don't know, and certainly you can. You can advocate for a cause. You absolutely can. No, you can. I don't think that's accurate. Just my opinion.
I agree. You can, you can advocate for someone and still not know if they're telling the truth. I mean, like I said, I take a difference in that as, when, let's take this Haley Busby, right? She gets taken, she gets unalived. Her family is advocating for a new law here in Indiana. Okay? They are actively speaking with people who have the power to do that. Do I know what they're saying is true? No. But they're still advocating, and they're not just advocating for their daughter, they're advocating for the past and the future people that could become crimes of this. It doesn't mean that they know they're telling the truth. I think there's a big difference in advocate and support, but that's just me.
Right. And to me, we all, Jack and Lily, are the ones that deserve for us all to be advocating for them, to be pushing for the truth, to be pushing for justice, and to be so mindful of that advocacy that we're not going to put anything in jeopardy when it comes to, the RCMP's work, their investigation, uncovering information, not, posting legitimate tips or information that could be used to help prosecute whoever's guilty, or to find Jack and Lily and bring what happened to them to light. We should all be advocating for Jack and Lily, and the rest of it is just noise to me. The truth will be told in court. And I don't care if we're talking about Daniel's upcoming case or if we're talking about the outcome of Jack and Lily's investigation. Jack and Lily deserve our advocacy and that process. Just in my own opinion, I think that is the most important thing. And the reason why I get so frustrated with this case coverage is because people they talk, they say what they know or what they think, but they're talking as though it's fact. And the biggest pet peeve of mine is detectives are watching. Are they? And they're pushing Anita to continue talking, to continue doing what she's doing. Are they? Like, this person clearly has absolutely no idea of the justice system. None whatsoever. To be able to be up there and spew this shit day after day and never letting up. It's putting in jeopardy the entire due process of it. Well, down the road, just in my mind. It pisses me off more than it helps me. She can advocate and not know the truth about the case. Absolutely. Why is everyone so butthurt that Shan advocates for Malaya? Who cares? Not me. I don't. But, I mean, again, if you could admit that you don't know that Malaya is telling the truth or if Malaya is lying, then how do you know that Daniel is telling the truth or Daniel is lying? Like, how do we get there?
So I started this one for a reason. So, Cool J, I don't want to play semantics. I don't want to argue with anybody. I don't want to push my narrative on somebody. But in my opinion, it's not that necessarily people are upset or butthurt that there are creators advocating for Malaya. That's not the point. And you're right. Who cares who they advocate for? Where it comes into play in this case is you cannot, in my opinion, and I'm probably going to get backlash on this, you cannot say I advocate for somebody or I support somebody or I stand by somebody and then also be okay with some of the things that have happened in this case. There's a video with proof on my page if you don't believe me. The point is, that is where people are saying, okay, well, how can you advocate for this person, but be okay with doing X, Y, and Z? If you advocate for somebody, you advocate for the situation and what the person went through. You can't then turn around and try to use what that person went through for clicks or views or money specifically. Right? I'm not saying those who make YouTube content on it. I'm saying those who come behind my paywall type, right? That's where the issue of who she advocates for has come in. It's not a matter of the advocacy itself. It's the matter of the actions behind it. And deafening silence, I understand what you were saying. I took what you had said wrong, but I got you. I seen the comments.
That's funny. I'm still going through the chat trying to star comments because this is a really good discussion. I hope we can get to everything. These ones are earlier starred. So did she say she doesn't know if Malaya is lying to convince Durwood to keep talking to her? Is Shan lying? Does it matter? I don't believe it matters, but I mean, it's quite possible because when you're talking to people who are involved in this case specifically, like this is what we're talking about here today, whether you believe them or not, it is important to keep an unbiased ear open. Even if when you hang up the phone, you're thinking, holy shit, that was a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? If that's what your honest thoughts are, what benefit would it be to throw that at Durwood while you're talking to him? Because you're just going to incite an argument or, end the conversation. So, I mean, if that's your goal, that's one thing, but it's absolutely possible that she, maybe not trying to convince Durwood, but just not going along with it, but keeping the dialogue open because that's really all we can do. So that's quite possible that's what she was doing.
And I have to agree with that because even when I spoke with Durwood, and I didn't speak with him on the phone, I spoke with him through text message. But I'm like, yeah, I tried to keep an open mind. Even though some of what he was saying, I openly disagreed with him on. But I tried to keep an open mind so he would continue to talk. Because if you sit there and say, well, that's bullcrap, that couldn't happen, XYZ, all you're going to do is shut down the conversation. And shutting down the conversation of people who are close to this family or people who know things or could know things or whatever doesn't help. You want to have an open dialogue. And to have an open dialogue, you have to keep your mind open.
Right. I don't know if you want to go through some of the starred ones. They're kind of old, and I think we've gone through a lot of them at this point, but maybe you're missing the point. The point is an advocate rests on facts. Shan is not an advocate under this definition. Supporter, advocate absolutely means the same thing to people that don't, you're advocating for Malaya, and that's absolutely fine, but you can't shut out facts and I mean, who knows what facts are, right? And I'm not accusing shenanigans of doing any of this. I'm just, I'm trying to explain what I'm an advocate for, and that doesn't make me anti-Malaya. Just because I think that this has to, all of it, no matter if we're talking about Jack and Lily or Daniel's stuff, all of it has to go before a court. And I'm advocating for that to happen so that if there is a punishment due, then it can be carried out legally and stick so that you don't have what we talked about the other day with these overturned convictions. And now those families have to go back through that shit again, ripping open those wounds again. So we all need to advocate for Jack and Lily and what's best and what's right and what's legal. That's just my opinion on it.
I agree. But if you want me to hit some of them, I can.
Please do. Absolutely. And I'm going to go to the live chat and keep starring.
Okay, so these are in no particular order. Honestly, I'm just going to start grabbing them. So the timeline has always been a problem. You're correct, it has, because we can't get an actual factual, this is what time I did this is what time I did that. The closest we got to that was when Janie said at 6 o'clock I got up, at 7 o'clock I let the chickens out, at 8 o'clock 8:48 I talked to my brother, things like that. But you're right, the timeline has always been the problem. And Hidden in the Fog had a good point. If we can point things out that didn't happen, it does change the timeline. So I mean, but Helicopter Grandma, I do not know what you mean by this. This is why I started this one. I trusted her. What's with giving the finger? I don't know what happened to her, but I'm disgusted. I trusted her and supported her. I don't know if you mean Shan. I don't know what you're talking about here. Don't know if you want to clarify it, but you have my email if you want to. The timeline and the Thursday was just a normal day with no details as concerning. You're right. But at the same time, I can see it was just a normal day. We stayed home or we ran an errand or whatever. I can also see both sides of saying it was a normal day, but the timeline is concerning with no details, because you should be able to say, well, you should be able to say, well, we went to Starbucks, or we went to this gas station or that gas station, not just we ran errands. If there wasn't a crime, why is everyone trying so hard to cover it up with every step forward they take? Fair point. Fair point. Because if there wasn't a crime, then you would call and say, hey, my kids had an accident. Hey, it was an accident. This happened. So I see where you're coming from, and you have a fair point there. Ron Mexico, you have shenanigans. Oh, I didn't start that one. Lori, didn't she also suggest Malaya was drugged? Yet Malaya was up a few times in the night. In my opinion, she was up all night. But we have no evidence to support either way. So again, we weren't there. We don't know. All we can go by is what they say. And if you don't believe what they say, then there's not much that we have actual proof of right now. Let's see. An advocate actively promotes or defends a cause, often publicly, while a supporter provides backing, encouragement, or resources, which can be more passive or personal, says the internet. Correct. And that's how I take it. But is that how a layperson takes it when they hear that you're advocating for somebody? Do they take it as you're advocating for that person and what that person says is completely true? Or do they take it as you're advocating for that person because of what they've been through? And I think Hidden in the Fog possibly took it that she was advocating for her personally. I don't know. That's kind of how I took it. It was up to them to make sure the door was childproof, especially if they didn't want to get out of bed, in my opinion. You're not wrong, Bonnie. You're not. At least lock the door, right? Make sure the kids aren't going outside. But, you've got active users. So, was that priority on their list? They cared enough to block the front door with a wrench, Daniel did, but not the back door. So, I mean, I agree with you. It should have been childproof or locked, but hindsight's 2020. Imagine making a bunch of sock accounts. For the record, never did. I even hear any rumor about her being in jail. Very few people even care. That Mod Woman, Cool J, Damien, Cheryl, that's it. What's it matter? What does it matter if she started the rumor of she went to jail? What does it matter? Does it help bring us any closer to figuring out what happened with Jack and Lily? Because I don't think it does. Now, if it had something to do with Jack and Lily, okay, then I might care. You have to keep an open mind in this case. We don't know the facts, but we know 2 children are missing. We have to keep Jack and Lily in the forefront. Exactly. That is the only thing that should matter, is Jack and Lily and keeping their names in the forefront. Daleen said, okay, do you think that advocates should allow lying? No, but again, I think my definition of being an advocate and yours, Daleen, are different. Maybe not, but I think they are. And I think that everybody, like Shar said, should be able to confront their accuser. So, like somebody said in chat, the Me Too movement. Okay, cool. You say it happened. Is there proof? Can we prove it? Can it go to court? Can you get a conviction? There are other things. I don't just blindly believe people. I blindly want to believe them and say, okay, I want to believe you, but I need some more facts before I can say I fully believe somebody. But I'm not going to fully believe somebody I met 2 months ago that hasn't showed any attempt of finding their kids until they were gone a year. Sorry, it's going to take more than a couple of months and you handing out water for me to believe what you say. Believe all women? Yes and no. Because you want to believe them, but you don't say that they're 100% telling the truth either. Because women do lie.
I have something to say on this one. Because, just like you believe all children who have stories to tell or, disclosures to make to their parents or in a safe place, you do believe all women. Having said that, that does not change the fact that for example, and I'm not saying that I was lying, but there was a time in my life where I had to go into court and get a restraining order. I didn't have to prove a thing. I just had to go in there and tell my story, and I was granted an emergency protection order. I needed it, but I could have been lying. They did not ask for any proof. There's a completely other side to that, because some women do lie. Some women do have motives that are not good. Again, I just finished going through that in a trial last year where the woman was the abuser. The woman did try to make up and bring in lies. Thankfully, we were able to disprove them based on evidence. But I believe that you have to believe all women. You have to take accusations on their face and take them seriously. But you have to respect the process. You can't be running around calling people whatever we're calling people until it's proven in court. That doesn't mean you're calling the woman a liar. That means you're supportive of them and trying to help them, continue to gain the courage to face her accuser. But I know it's a fine line, but that's just the long and short of it. I didn't have to prove a damn thing. I just had to go in there and say, I am scared for my life. This is what happened. Judge didn't need a scintilla of proof. So just you can say, and trust me, with this shit from last year, anybody can put anything they want on a motion that goes into trial. I mean, that's on them. If they're going to commit perjury, that's on them. But There's no, some people just don't have a moral compass. So to think that because a woman says it just automatically means it's true, you take them on their word for sure, but that's just to support them and encourage them to have the courage to go through with it and try to stop the person from being able to do it again, I guess. I mean, it's a terrible situation, but there are women out there who have made this what it is. And here we are again.
But there are women that will get, say, a divorce. Hypothetical here, but I've seen it happen. And they're going through a divorce, and then they say, oh, well, he was abusive, and he, I caught him trying to assault one of my kids. Okay, I believe you, right? But I believe you to the extent of, I believe you think that's what happened. I believe you think that's your version. But I also believe and stress, okay, take it to court then. Let it be proven. Because, perfect example, I don't want to give names because I don't want to dox these people, but there was a minor child. Her parent filed for a restraining order against the biological parent of that child, and it was denied. This woman had adopted this child. The biological parent had her rights removed. That child, who was 16 at the time, is now an adult. That child went back to court and just got a 3-year restraining order against the same person that they denied it, because she finally had the proof to back it up when they went to court. And it wasn't just, this is how I feel, or this is what happened. So believe, but verify.
Enter due process.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's just, if you think, you take somebody's word for it and you think their ex or their spouse or whatever is the devil incarnate, that is fine. But just understand that there's another side to it. And if it's shit, then it's shit. And yes, some people get off on technicalities. They absolutely do. But it's still, you have to respect the process.
That's what it's there for. That's what it's
Right.
designed for.
Right. And in Canada, to me, it's so important. It's so important because the sentences are such a joke anyways. So you want justice to be served correctly by the book, because Lord knows it's not going to be the justice that we all feel people deserve for certain things, right? So you gotta respect it. If we look in our bag of proven facts, not theories, it's pretty light. I have opinions, but they are just that. Looking at all overturns lately, it would be wiser to stay. Yes. Thank you, Julie. Exactly my point. Because what if some of this speculation and some of the, not even speculation, but some of the shit that's being thrown out there on certain channels, what if there's a little bit of truth in it, but now it's been thrown around YouTube and Facebook, and it's been added to and added to and added to. By the time it gets to trial, it means nothing more than a social media fucking rumor. Because so much bullshit have been added to what could possibly be a bit of truth. That's why it's important to not give the platform to some of these people. Two things can be true at the same time. Malaya could have been abused and still be an unfit mother. Very true. I would question why she doesn't have Meadow back, and why Daniel, why they all have supervised visits. Daniel said it was because of, she got her supervised visitation because of his addiction, his, I can't remember what he called it, But that's like well over a year over and done with. So there still has to be a concern for CPS for her still to have supervised visitation. There has to be some. I mean, there just has to be. Who is to say Malaya is telling the truth about domestic violence as say she has accused other men? It just doesn't add up. Daniel is not the only one that she has accused. In my opinion, the courts will decide. Fair enough. Some women are just, they do gravitate to abusive men. They do. It happens. We don't know what we don't know. Just so you know, Gran, I caught up in chat. I did. And now I'm back to the starred comments. So that's another thing is women are abusive. Yeah. And there's a stigma around it when they get a free pass. Yes. Amber Heard trial brought much of that to light. Absolutely. And like I said, what I, went through last year, you don't realize how if the woman is like that, then they're like that, and they do it with ease. It's disgusting. Please take over, Melissa. I need to get a drink.
Okay. I'm going back to start comments here. Hold on, guys. So Cool J said, getting caught up in the semantics here, in my opinion. So if Shan came out and said, I am not an advocate for Malaya, I am a supporter, would it be okay? Come on, get real. At this point, no. However, yes, we are caught kind of in this semantics here. What's this word mean and what's that word mean? In my opinion, no, it wouldn't, because the damage is already done, right? So it would be hard to come back from that. I don't know. Maybe somebody else would feel different. I would say no, for me personally. Malaya did not have a dark side. She lost her control once while drinking and being on meds. Okay?
Yeah, but that's...
Who wouldn't?
I mean, that's honestly the side of her that you do know. I mean, you have to admit that you don't know her. I spent a long time with somebody, and I personally think you never know anybody completely.
I agree.
People can shock you, and you saw the Malaya who was the mother of your grandchildren who came for visits, and anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible, Belinda. I'm sorry, Melissa. Go ahead.
I have to agree there. I'm not discounting what Belinda is saying by any means, but people change. Maybe if she did have postpartum or whatever, I mean, people change. So maybe she didn't when you seen her, but possibly developed one. We don't know. Although you knew her better than we did, so. Jack and Lily deserve for us to listen to all viewpoints, and that's real talk. Exactly. I don't know more than Charmaine does. Charmaine doesn't know more than Sunny does. Sunny doesn't know more than Justin does. Nobody knows more than anybody else. We all have access to the same information because none of us were there. So listening to everybody speak, whether it be me and Char or Shenanigans or Daphne or Justin or whoever else, AB for all I care. You got to take what you hear and decide for yourself what pile you put that in your brain. And it's going to be different for everybody. I feel like there has been some evidence of wrongdoing or else the youngest would be with her. I agree, Ron Mexico. I fully agree. Especially after this long. I could see, making her go through parenting classes or making her prove she's got a stable home that's safe, things like that. That would work towards getting her back. But at this point, if it's been this long, and since it's been this long, I can only assume that there are factors standing in the way. Whatever that may be. There are 2 innocent young children who are victims here. What about them? Exactly. That is the point. Like, all the BS that's being done needs to stop, because it is and should have been and always should be about Jack and Lily and keeping their names out there, keeping their faces out there, and praying that answers come. Are we going to solve it? No, but we can keep the talk going about it. Maybe Shan should come up and tell her side of what she's doing. Good luck with that. I doubt she'll ever do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and I mean, I would pass, and I know that allegedly she put a post in chat, and it's one of the starred comments because I think she removed it herself. But just
Yeah,
just to be crystal clear, I'm not interested.
I'm sorry, but for me, that bridge was burnt. And it's been proven that I can't trust somebody. So for me, that bridge is burnt. However, I did just see it. I appreciate both of your objective opinions. I think you both have a very good idea of how this conversation took place. Thank you.
And I think that was in response to our
I
take on the
do.
Durwood.
And yeah,
On the Durwood stuff, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. She removed that comment, but as we've learned, it doesn't matter if comments are removed. I see some of them on this side, and I don't see comments that aren't removed either. So I just wanted to show that that is her new profile picture. So I'm thinking it might be really her that's here, that was here. And I don't know who removed it, but sorry, continue.
I mean, again, I go back to that bridge was burnt. So, I mean, yeah, we can understand how that phone call could have taken place and why it would have taken place and why you would have said, I don't know. But for me, it doesn't change my opinion. And I'll leave it there. There is a part of me who thinks Durwood would be great to have coffee with. I think there is perhaps a side of him we don't get to see online. I can't disagree. I think he'd be one of those. I caught a fish that was 500 pounds and I reeled for hours and it fought me. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's got some stories, but
yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with Darren Geddes that, you know, and I mean, you don't need to come at me, but he is a normal, rational person until we start talking about where we disagree. But he's, you know, I don't mind talking to Durwood when we can be civil. You know, I do believe that he truly he does want to keep Jack and Lily's names out there. He does, and that's my motive. So I listen.
I mean, I can't necessarily agree with everything he's done or said or any of that, but I agree. His main focus is Jack and Lily. I don't think he is intentionally or meaning to derail anything. I think his focus is Jack and Lily. But one thing is 10,000% true is that both of these parents are horrible parents and should never be in charge of another child as long as they exist. I disagree. Were they neglectful? Yes. Do they need help? Yes. Do I think they both need parenting classes? Yes. But I also feel like with the proper help, with the proper support and training, that they could be good parents. And I say that because Belinda has told us she was at one point a good mother. All right, you got to take over for a few.
All right. Are you still in the? I think you're still in the start.
Yeah, I'm way far behind in chat.
Did you read this one by Cindy B?
No, that's where I left off.
All right. Realistically, the timeline is complete shit, no matter what way you look at it. The only one single thing that can be proved is the video footage from the store once they left there. Nobody knows. That we've heard, Cindy B. Like, even that, people are so quick to say, oh, the RCMP can lie to the public. And we're not 100% sure what they were last seen wearing, and they're still missing children, but we're not allowed to know what they were last seen wearing. And because they were put to bed in the same clothes that they were wearing, 1 + 1 makes sense to me that we would get a screenshot or a still shot of that CCTV video to show what they were wearing, but we're not allowed to have that either. Make it make sense. So even that, I question. Not that it didn't happen, because it's in the court docs. But those applications were also based on information that they had at the time, right? They were trying to get access to further information. So some of the stuff that's in those documents could have been ruled out. I mean, what do we actually know? Nothing. Some people are very good at only showing you what they want you to see. My ex admitted to the police what he did, but I know my sister abused my brother-in-law. His words to me, yeah. Some women are abusive, and some men don't hit back. It's true. Unfortunately, it's true. I think it's great you guys keep Jack and Lily's names out there. No news, no nothing here in Nova Scotia. Very sad. You're right, I didn't live there, but every visit of my sons or Patty's, Lily and Jack look great and happy. And that's good, but obviously, and I'm not saying Jack and Lily weren't happy, you know, they didn't look great and they were happy because I wasn't there. I don't know. But things do change, and sometimes they can change on a dime. Sadly. And when Cindy video chatted Malaya on Thursday, did she see the kids or didn't she? Should be easy. Should be easy for people with contact with Cindy to verify that. I don't know why we don't.
I think for me on that, when the RCMP was taking her statement and talking to her, and she would have said, I would have seen the kids. I would have said, did you or did you not see the kids? We need an answer. Yes or no. I would have pushed, if I was the RCMP, to get a yes or no on that question. Maybe they did and they just didn't release it. I don't know. But I would have definitely not have taken it. I should have seen the kids as an answer.
Just sending you another link there, Melissa, for a video that we can watch, because it's over 2 hours now. I'm gonna keep starring comments in the chat, but I think this has been a pretty good conversation considering we've got nothing to go on. But let me hit send here just a sec. So Mike MX was mentioned earlier. Pardon me?
I was just getting ready to cut in and say I didn't get anything.
Yeah, I didn't hit send. That's how my brain is lately. There was something else that I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember. What are you saying, Hustler? One video. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on this conversation that I believe has something to do with this comment that I've started. She must have. Isn't that what the docs say? Crazy. I say new. Yeah. I know you would have thought she'd state that in there. Yeah. I asked Cheryl and she got right defensive. I've cut my hair in a whole ass shower during this amazing comment. Okay, so here's the thing with Cheryl, too, right? Something like that, she got right defensive on. Heaven forbid that we don't get it right. But the people who know refuse to pony up the information. So we're just not supposed to talk about it at all. Do you know what asinine to me?
Well, okay. So she gets defensive. So when you ask, did you or did you not see the kid? She gets defensive. Why? Why do you get defensive? You get defensive for a reason. So what is that reason that you are getting defensive? Cheryl, I mean, Cheryl wasn't on the phone call, but why get defensive over such a little detail? It's not like we're trying to say, well, since you didn't see the kids, you must have had something to do with it. We're just trying to make sense of court documents that we received. And we're trying to make sense of a statement that I should have seen the kids. Or as I believe it was stated in the court documents, the officer said she would have seen the kids. So maybe she told the RCMP she did. But we're trying to keep things factual. So if we come to you and try to keep a fact, yes or no, and make sure we're getting factual information out there. I've asked Belinda all kinds of questions. I had an almost 2-hour conversation with Belinda, asking her all kinds of information when I was doing the document and since. And she's never got defensive. She's always said, well, this is what I know. I wish the other side was like that too. We're not trying to necessarily poke holes in, oh, well, you said you've seen the kids, so why didn't you see XYZ? We're just trying to determine when the last sighting outside of Daniel, Malaya, and Janie between the Dollarama footage and when they disappeared. That's all we're doing. And I don't know which video you're wanting on here. You sent me his page link.
Yeah, so go down to videos and then Jack and Lily Laura. That's the video. I have to go. How does Sunny put it? I have to go give the toilet a drink, and then I'll go through chat again. But I haven't seen this video, so. Oh, before I forget, whoever's watching out there, you lurkers or replay, who like to go on to my replays and tell me that I need Jesus and I need to pray, and because I played a practical joke on Ian's dad that I am an unfit partner for Ian. Thank you for the giggles. That's good. I think you really need to step away from true crime, though. Anyways, please continue. And I don't know why I just thought of that now.
I don't know. I personally thought the practical joke on Ian's dad was hilarious. I got a kick out of it. So you go ahead and go. I'm going to play this out. It's 7 minutes and 13 seconds. I doubt I'll have to stop. This is Mike MX. If you don't know him, go look him up. He does really well. He does really good videos. I just need you to say May 3rd more often, and we're great.
Going for a little walk, and I've been thinking about the last Please Bring Me Home search that was conducted for Jack and Lee. And it was towards the end of April this year. And during that search in the briefings, there was a poster that was shown. And on that poster, there was a doll. Lily's doll was included as something that's missing, unaccounted for, and presumed that it could be with Lily, or maybe in the backpack or something like that, but it's missing and unaccounted for. So I just, that was, it was shown on Charmaine's channel, and
I just have to say, if you notice in a lot of his videos, he's going for walks. And I love that because I'm seeing places I will never get to see otherwise. Just had to point that out.
Nova's channel, and Nova was actually at the search. So the picture is verified as the one that's missing. And in Facebook posts, the actual same doll can be seen where Lily is holding it. So it's very likely the one that Lily's actually holding, and it's a Generation 3 Draculaura doll. And I'll just put that, I'll put that clip of Charmaine's where she had the poster up, and I'll just highlight that as well here. Okay, so the Draculaura doll, as I was saying, that particular one is a Generation 3. But just for good measure, it'd be a good idea just to go back through the history of the Draculaura doll, because there's some valuable insight that some people maybe aren't aware of. So we'll do that here. This is a Generation 1 Draculaura, and Generation 1 Draculauras came out in October 2010. This particular model is a 2013 version, and there's around 70 versions of Draculaura. And her backstory, original backstory, is she's the daughter of Count Dracula, and Laura was born human in 412 AD, and her own bio-father died in battle. And as a teenager, a plague killed Laura's mother, and Dracula bit Laura to save her from dying and adopted her as his own. And Draculaura is vegan, and her character is 1614 years old. Okay, but this isn't the doll that's depicted in the posters for missing Jack and Lily Sullivan. We have to go over here. This is the modern version of Draculaura, and she is the 2022 version. She came out in October of that year. And if a similar doll to this was Lily's doll, Lily, the earliest or the youngest Lily would have got this doll would have been at about 3.5 years old. Draculaura. And as far as time changes and stories change, the original backstory from the original Draculaura is changed so as to bring her into more modern times. She's the biological child now of Dracula and a Taiwanese mother, and she practices witchcraft. And the original Draculaura was a bubbly, ditzy type character. And the more modern character is seen to be more deadpan and, how would you say, more get the job done while practicing witchcraft and keeping that hidden from her father. Anyway, we'll continue on. That doll was given to Lily as a present, maybe for birthday or Christmas, and sometime after she was 3.5 years old, because that's when the doll first emerged in the shops in Nova Scotia, and it is missing and unaccounted for. So the hope is that something like that, or the backpack, or boots, or any of their clothes, may be found at some time to help locate or give a clue as to where Lily and Jack actually are. And that's the hope. And every bit helps. And every bit of information helps as well. And the knowledge that goes along with it. And the facts. And trying to stick to the facts. And I'm up to being corrected when and if I make mistakes. And as always, I'll hope the best for Jack and Lily, and that they get found and they get justice. And I'll leave it there for now. Take care. Good luck.
Okay. So I found, and I didn't find, it's in the document. Okay, so this is, let me make this a little bit bigger here. Okay, so this is the document that I created. This is Christine Ingrig. It was 6 hours when I screenshotted it. Several months later. This is the doll that they were talking about. Now, this is the picture of Lily with the doll. So she's, I'd say, maybe 5 in that picture. 4. Somewhere in there. So, Mike, if you're here, go to any of the videos I've done about Jack and Lily. Grab the link for this document. You can get the pictures from there. But I just wanted to point that out.
Do you, in this document, do you have the press conference where they scaled back the search? Just wondering, and I've got a couple of starred comments that I'll go through while you're looking for that. Why did Cheryl bring out this doll so late in the game? Unsure, but it did take quite some time. Yes, tomorrow, you guys, Summer Wells. Michelle After Dark will be doing a 12-hour stream tomorrow. I highly suggest just going and checking it out here and there. Summer Wells has been missing.
Disheartening development in the search for
and then so many kids missing. It's so effing sad. Like, where the hell did they go? They didn't vaporize. They're all somewhere. And then this one, humor bonds families. It's now a memory. And every time it gets recounted at future events, you will laugh. You will all laugh together. He also has a new purpose. It's called Payback. Julie wishes exactly. And I was pointing out those comments just to try to, to remind myself. People have no idea what they're talking about. They take what, it doesn't even make sense for somebody to say on one of my replays, the replay from our last live stream with Melissa, that we both need to pray to Jesus, because I'm not sure why that was even brought up. or that I'm an unfit partner for Ian because of that. And I'm like, they have no idea, but this is the relationship that they've built with me. This isn't something that I started with them. This is who they are, and it's fun. And to put a comment like that, like, I'm just imploring people to save your energy. Like, don't make those comments, because I want to just delete them, but I also feel like I want to put them on there just to remind you of how stupid you sound when you post shit like that. You don't know me. You don't know Ian's family. Melissa spent her morning at church. You have no idea what you're talking about. You need to find Jesus, and you need to go touch grass. That's why I brought it up, but thank you so much.
And I just want to clarify from earlier when I said I'm going to hold back my comment about going to church. The reason I'm holding back that comment is because that is my faith, right? You may have a different faith than me. Somebody else might have a different faith than me. That's fine. That's your faith. That's something you have to deal with. Don't tell me to pray, honey. I pray multiple times a day. I go and I confess my sins daily, multiple times. So, you worry about your faith, whoever posted that. I'll worry about mine, and we'll get along great. I just don't think YouTube is the best place for me to sit here and talk about it, and push it, because I'm not going to push it on anybody. Yes, I made the comment about hell for shenanigans, but that is how I felt in that moment, and I still stick by what I said, but that's besides the point.
Right. And like, why would you, like, if you don't like me, it's okay. If you think that I'm evil, that's okay too. Don't watch me. Save your strength. Don't go comment somewhere else, because you just make me laugh. Shannon, everybody, like, honestly, everybody's praying for you. Thank you so much for that. But I wish you the absolute best, Shannon, and Helicopter Grandma, for your 3 generous gifts today. Thank you so much. Agnostic, it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
But again,
matter.
that's yours.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And you're allowed to have your opinion.
I get why some people, like, I personally, I never bought my kids those dolls, and it wasn't because they looked evil or whatever. It's because they were ugly as shit. They're ugly, and the makeup, I couldn't get on board with that. I was, if they wanted a Barbie, like those big Barbie heads where they could put the emo makeup on them, I was good with that, but I didn't like these. I just thought they were ugly. I couldn't understand why little girls were into those. Anyways, were you able to find that? No,
So
exactly.
I have the short video, and then I also have the 30-some minute video. I don't know which one you're wanting.
Let's watch. I think it's like Annabelle Hustler. The Boo Boo. I don't know what that is, but Annabelle is. Let's put it. Let's watch. And then if it drags on too much, we'll skip ahead to where Rob is speaking. But I think it was, man, I can't remember his name, but the first fella that talked, not her, but that one, that guy. Let's listen to his remarks, and then we'll go from there. Thank you, Melissa.
Le sergent d'État McKinnon à prendre la parole. Merci.
Thank you all for being here today. First of all, our thoughts go to the family and loved ones of Lily and Jack Sullivan, to their communities, and to everyone who's worked day and night in an effort to find the children and bring them home. Since the first 911 call was received by the RCMP, reporting that 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack had wandered away from their home on Garlick Road in Lansdowne Station, a multi-agency search has been underway. Teams have been working around the clock. This search has included many agencies, including volunteer ground search and rescue teams from across Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, the Civil Air Search and Rescue Association, known as CASERA, Department of Natural Resources Air Services, Nova Scotia Public Safety and Field Communications, Nova Scotia Guard, Joint Rescue Coordination Center, Salvation Army, the Canada Heavy Urban Search and Rescue Task Force 5, and several RCMP units, including police, dog services, and drone operators. Since Saturday, because we treat all missing person files as suspicious until our investigation leads us to determine otherwise, our Major Crimes Unit has been engaged. It's been an all-hands-on-deck effort using every available resource and tool. Since the search began on May 2nd, it has been concentrated in the Garlick Road area and has covered 4 square kilometers of heavy, wooded, rural terrain. Up to 160 trained volunteer searchers, along with many others, have been involved in the search each day. Tens of thousands of search hours have been dedicated to scouring the area, and GSAR has confirmed that over 100 tracks have been laid using GPS and grid searches. Efforts to locate Lily and Jack have also included 2 vulnerable missing person alerts, posting their children's photos and information on Nova Scotia RCMP website and social media accounts. Our social accounts have more than 300,000 followers, and releasing information to local media as well as reporters across the country. Lily and Jack have made headlines from coast to coast. While the search has been ongoing, RCMP officers continued with the missing person investigation, speaking with family and community members to gather tips and other information that could help locate the children. We have not received any confirmed reports of sightings. Lily and Jack's family has been provided with regular updates on the search and on the missing person investigation. They've also been afforded supports. As of today, May 7th, the active search efforts to locate Lily and Jack will be scaled back. We're transitioning from a full-scale search to searches in more specific spaces that have already been searched by our teams. We want to circle back to increase the probability that all clues have been found. And when transitioning from an active search to a scaled-back search, the probability of survival is taken into consideration. I want to assure you that our missing persons investigation continues. We're not packing up, and we're not giving up. Our investigation is broad, and it won't end until we know where Lily and Jack are and can bring them home. We'll continue to investigate and chase leads for as long as and as hard as we have to. We have the best investigators working every aspect of the file. We continue to appeal to anyone who have information related to our investigation and who has not yet spoken to us to contact the Pictou County District RCMP at 902-485-4333 or Crime Stoppers. Before I close, I want to reiterate that our hearts go out to Lily and Jack's family, to the community, and the people who've worked so incredibly hard to date. Many of us have children of our own and have wanted nothing more than to reunite Lily and Jack with their loved ones. Thank you.
Did seem like he was almost in tears for sure. He did seem very emotional for sure. And then you skip ahead to Rob McCammon, and I don't mean to constantly be so critical of Rob, but he is the spokesperson for the Major Crimes Unit in this investigation. And I feel like this fella here he's more compassionate, and I think he's got a better public persona, if an officer can have one, than Rob does. Just my own opinion. Do you want to watch a little bit of Rob's statements as well?
Okay.
Rob McCammon. Robert. And MCCAMON is the last name. So Major Crime became involved very early in the investigation. We're able to bring in some specialized knowledge and skill sets, and we help with the information management and decision making. As we scale back, as we've identified, there are certain areas that are going to be relooked at that could contain a confined area perhaps, and maybe need some more specialized search areas. But I'll leave that to the search crews to expand on. And we're going to continue pursuing any leads or information that comes in, and the stuff that we do have. We have engaged in all areas of the RCMP. All tools that are available to us are being considered and engaged when appropriate.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, as a follow-up, that I guess the general population looks at it and says, you've searched very thoroughly this area.
Mm-hmm.
You would have found them if they were there, which then makes people, certainly on social media, people are assuming, rightly or wrongly, that there's a criminal element to this.
Sure.
And can you, I know, what can you tell me about that, your work on that potential?
Well, I can't really speculate on the investigation, obviously. That wouldn't be fair to the process. But we are constantly reviewing everything that's been done, looking at all different facets of available information, and we'll make decisions on that. I can't really comment on the details of that, but we will pursue every lead that becomes available and take it to where it needs to go.
So is there a question? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Again with CBC National News. You at first said it wasn't suspicious. You think the kids just wandered off. Now you're saying every missing person's investigation is considered suspicious. Is it still suspicious? Are there any suspects here?
Again, I'm not going to comment on the details of the investigation, but I will comment when somebody goes missing and we become engaged as any police officer, not just major crime, we will look at all the details and make considerations on the information we have, right? When it comes to a missing person, we have to automatically consider those, are there people that have different charter implications and things like that? So we will automatically start to consider what evidence is pointing us towards a suspicious in nature. Again, I can't comment more than that, but every missing person case, we would approach it from the same process. A methodical collection and review of information with decisions based on that.
And the family has said they believe it's an abduction, or they suspect it's an abduction. Are there now any clues or anything leading you to think that that might be possible?
If we had any information that led that way and we felt that we could provide anything with the public, we would have done that. We would have got that information out. We're working very closely with the family, and we will pursue every avenue. But again, I'm not going to make any specific comments, but anything that would point towards that, we would immediately take steps to address things that need to be addressed.
CBC. I think this question is most appropriate to Staff Sergeant. You talked about survivability. I was wondering if you could address that specifically, given the ages of the two missing children and the weather conditions we've experienced this week.
Yeah, so the incident command person with the RCMP, along with the search manager, at some point have to make a decision when would it scale back this search. And a number of factors would have to take consideration, and they would, based upon scientific information that they have, to deem when that time has to come, and that is now. And a lot of those factors come into play would be the age of the missing persons, the weather, how long it's been, what area has been covered. So at that point, they have to make a decision on that.
I hate to ask this, but given their age and the conditions, if they were still in the woods, do you think they would still be alive?
I guess it goes back to all those factors have to come into play, right? So we are scaling back because it's time to move to a different part of the search.
I just don't know how much further into this you want to go.
Well, the one thing that they just talked about, and like this has been a sore spot for me for quite some time. They didn't rule out an abduction, and I'm not saying that the kids were abducted, but this is not what was said here. And we've jumped on that and ran with it for over a year now. There is no evidence leading us in that direction. Is a far cry from they've ruled out they were not abducted. Do you know what I mean? So even if, and I know there are people out there saying, well, if Malaya led them off the property herself, then they're not abducted. Yes, they are at this point. Yes, they are. If anybody took those children off of the property, they were abducted.
It is considered a parental abduction.
Parental abduction, there's familial abduction, there's non-familial abduction, and there is stranger abduction. So if you're saying that all of those were ruled out on this day that we're watching here, then nobody took the children off the property alive. That you can't have it both ways.
But no evidence of does not necessarily mean it's been ruled out either. So many people are saying it was ruled out. No, what they said was there is no evidence of.
Precisely. And that doesn't mean that I think that they were abducted. That doesn't mean that I'm saying they weren't abducted, because I don't know. I wasn't there. But, and I don't understand why, and it leads me to believe that the RCMP don't think that they were abducted either, because that is a very, very important distinction to clarify, in my opinion. If they're missing children and it is possible that they were taken off the property and even being hidden, then would you all not agree then what they were last seen wearing or not last known to be wearing would be one of the most important pieces of information to get out to the public? And that's not happening. So, all investigative avenues trigger words for life. That means everything and anything is still on the table.
Well,
all
McCammon
investigative.
said that.
Go ahead. What?
McCammon himself said that nothing has been taken off the table. Everything is still on the table, and I forget exactly which one he did that in. I think it was the first sit-down one that he did. He said everything is still on the table. So the RCMP hasn't even ruled out for sure abduction.
Right, but I mean, Rob McCammon says that in every single one of them. Every single one of them. He says that. So to me, you can't take what they're saying and say, well, they weren't abducted. That's just completely off the table. Because if they're considering it, why aren't we considering it too? And Anastasia, that is very true. A fundamental wrong. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? And let me just Google that for the people. What does that mean to you, Melissa?
Well, for me, I mean, as a parent, it is fundamentally wrong that these kids are gone and nobody knows where they're at. Why? You're supposed to know where your children are. You're not supposed to lose your children. The police shouldn't be able to do a search and not be able to find your children. Fundamentally, you should be watching your children. That's what I take of it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I take it.
Being fundamentally wrong or having a fundamental flaw means that an error, defect, or misunderstanding lies at the core of an idea, structure, or system, rather than just being a surface level mistake. This means that surface tweaks won't fix it. The entire concept or approach requires a complete rethinking. So a fundamental wrong that to me it's deeper than just the kids are missing, right? It's deeper than the kids might have been abused. It's deeper than CPS visited the family. It's deeper than substance abuse. It's deeper than all of that. There's something at the core of this that's caused them to use that language in my opinion. No one has been ruled out, yeah. RCMP said day one, no evidence of an abduction. They said that for a reason. Because there was no evidence of an abduction. But what I'm saying to you, Angus, is that an abduction doesn't just mean a stranger came and took them. That means anybody took the children off the property without the consent of the parents. And then even at this point, even if Malaya gave her consent, it's still criminal if somebody took them off the property. Do you know what I mean?
So yes, I know what you mean. There was a question here I was tracking down the answer for. It says, the documents say the polygraph was given to rule out Malaya. Did it say it was given to rule out Daniel Martel? Well, hold on a minute and we'll read it together. If you want to put that up, Shar. So this was from page 27 of 47, section 37 in the court documents. On May 12th, 2025, Daniel underwent a polygraph examination at the Bible Hill RCMP detachment conducted by Sergeant Rose Bethlehem. The following is summary of the polygraph examination. Said the analysis and tracing indicated that he was truthful. Let's go down here to page 28. So it says essentially the exact same thing that it says here. However, the following was the summary of it. So they gave the questions, but there was an A here. Sergeant Dahl stated Malaya willingly agreed to undergo a polygraph examination in relation to this investigation in an effort to eliminate her as a suspect in causing her children's disappearance and possible murder. So under Daniels, it said the analysis of the polygraph trace. So no, it does not say the same thing, to answer your question. I know that's the long way to answer it, but let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see what I'm reading. Right here is where you're talking about it, where it states in an effort to eliminate her as a suspect. However, under Daniel, it does not say that. So take that for what you will. Let's see, it was Sergeant Rose there, and it was Sergeant Daw here, so maybe it's just the way each of them report. About the polygraph, because it wasn't, if it were the same person and it said something different, I might read more into it. But the fact that it's two separate people I'm not going to read a lot into that, but I don't know. Other people might feel different, but I don't read a lot into the fact that two different people said or worded it a little bit different.
Okay. And this one. So I can't remember, I'm sorry who said it in chat, but I guess what does it mean when police say there was a fundamental wrong in a missing persons investigation? And it says when police or independent reviews state there was a fundamental wrong in a missing persons case, it means there were systemic failures, procedural violations, or severe prejudices in how an investigation was handled. That's interesting. That is interesting. And then Roots. go back up. It is a strong condemnation indicating that an action, policy, or behavior violates the very core of policing ethics, legal standards, or public trust. True that. So, why remove them and not the baby? It doesn't make sense. But it's not saying that the RCMP or law enforcement did it to rule her out. It is stating that she agreed to it to rule herself out. That was the reason Daniel gave too. Right? They absolutely have not. You're right, Maritzka. Thanks for being here. No evidence that we know of that's true, helicopter, but that's what the RCMP choose to put out to the public too. So, and one of my questions to Daniel early on was like, what did they, because if my children were missing, if my kid was missing, and they said, well, there's no evidence of an abduction, I would want to know exactly what you mean by that. Because my kids don't wander. Because my mother heard my kids outside this morning, and they don't wander into the woods. So what evidence do you have to tell me that nobody came on this property and took them? I would demand to see how they ruled that out or why they were saying that so steadfastly that nobody is, and including the RCMP, yes, they have a pinned post on their Facebook page, whatever, but missing persons posters aren't being circulated. It's up to us, we the public, to circulate them. We don't know what they were last seen wearing. We have very little details, factual details. Usually in a missing persons case, they want to get as much information out as possible so that in case a member of the public spots the children somewhere, they can be identified. And so I think they're believing that the children didn't leave the property by anybody else's hand. But I also think, and Robin Cannon even said, that it's highly unlikely that they went into the woods on their own. So, it's odd. Boss man, thanks for being here. Just about to end it. I think Harley is getting hungry. If she was worried about CPS, it wouldn't matter who the baby belonged to. That's right. And like I say, if you're trying to protect your children from CPS, then work with them. Understand that there is an issue with your parenting. Your kids are struggling in some way, shape, or form, and they need your attention. That's how you protect your kids from CPS. You have to think about the things they say and don't say. If they have the slightest inkling of criminal anything, they will be extremely careful with their words. They wouldn't want to spook a suspect. Absolutely. Agreed. I agree with that.
I have to agree. There is a reason that they are holding back the Dollarama footage, in my opinion.
I want to address this. When Jordan's guns got taken, the RCMP were there investigating something else. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Where did you get your information from? Because no, they weren't. DM didn't have custody of Jack and Lily. Taking the baby would have been an abduction without Daniel's consent. I don't know about that. But conscious beings, that we're still over 13 months in. So, like I said, even if Malaya guided them off the property herself, at this point, we're still looking at a crime has occurred.
And even if for nothing else than obstruction, because she knows that there is a massive search going on and having been done. Massive amounts of resources and money have been spent trying to find her children. So if it comes out that Malaya knew where the kids were, knew the kids were fine, and deliberately withheld that information from the RCMP, they would go after her with everything, and they could make her pay everything back. I mean, I don't know about Canada. In the United States, that's how it would work. Now, I wanted to respond to Helicopter Grandma here real quick before I give it back to you. She said abduction, whether family or not, is still an abduction, in my opinion. It's not in your opinion. When I was 2 years old, I was removed from my biological mother's care and placed in foster care with my brothers. When I was 3 years old, she had a unsupervised visitation. She told us we were going for ice cream. And from Indiana all the way to Florida, I pointed out every place that served ice cream because I never got my ice cream. My mother, my biological mother, is a convicted felon for kidnapping of us children. She was the parent. So it's not in your opinion. It is a fact that can be done.
Yeah. So I noticed, anyways, all three of Daniel's friends were arrested. There are no coincidences. What were they arrested for? Connected to Jack and Lily's case? I mean, you can speculate if you want, but don't run around saying it's fact. Anyways, you guys, I feel like it's been, Jesus, it's almost been 3 hours. It's time to go, you guys. It's time to go. So you got to go to work tomorrow, Melissa. I'm going to hang out and watch Michelle After Dark. I might, because she said people will be free to pop up. I might do that. I don't know. I don't know if I will or not. But either way, all these children, they're out there somewhere. Harmony Montgomery may be the exception to that. But they all deserve our attention. Darius McDougall, still missing from Alberta. I will be doing a Darius live stream on Tuesday, and I will be having No Receipts, No Problem, No Mercy come up to share the information that he has when he was down there searching. I know that there is another search going on in, I think, about 9 days. And if I'm able to, I'll be attending. But we do have plans this week. So hopefully everybody has a fantastic Monday. Everybody keep your heads up. Melissa, be super safe at work. I'll let you say your goodbyes.
So I should see you guys in probably about 2 weeks. You probably won't see much of me. I might pop in here and there if I'm able to, but no promises. But I will try to at least stay somewhat up to date on everything. But it's not that hard for me to quickly text Shar and say, okay, any updates or fill me in. So I will miss you all, and I shall see you later.
Thank you so much, Melissa. We will talk soon. And again, Helicopter Grandma and Shannon, thank you so much for your gifts and your generosity. And thank you, everybody, for participating in chat. This was a really great discussion today. And we will see everybody super soon. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Down the rabbit hole.